Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. Back at you, Sponge, Andrew Franklin right here on Gators Breakdown. Focus on the Gators with Alex Shepard coming up right after this as well. But Sponge, it's been forever since we got to talk about a victory. We don't have to, we've a couple of times we've already talked about it this week, so we'll look back and look ahead this episode. But man, 29-21, Arch Manning kind of comes to the swamp. Another Manning in a shade of orange that can't get a win in the swamp.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, there we go. So 29-21 upset victory for the Gators. But like I said, kind of just leading off with this is, man, it's been since LIU, since we got to talk about a Gator victory.
Yeah,
but this one certainly, no matter what you feel about Napier program, all that stuff, it was good for 3.5 hours to just watch the team play well.
Yeah, no, that's the sad part about it is that's what we were expecting, man, or at least that's what we had been talking about like all summer. Going back to mid-July, where you're like, all right, we got this, we got these pieces, we got this, we got all these ingredients, it's going to look great. And, you come out the gate and none of that happens. And then you look and, you're just like, like we said last week, is like, do you count on this team to do anything? And, it's just like, no, I don't have any confidence at any level of anything that's going on. And so you're like, I can't pick this team to beat Texas. And lo and behold, they play like the team that we thought they were going to be, and heck yeah, it was awesome to watch and it was fun to watch. And that's what you want to see. And, have they turned the corner? Have they, like, again, we've talked about it till we're blue in the face of like, dude, why does it take 4 weeks or, why does it take a bye week to like make this team just seem different? I mean, I can't even explain it. I can't even put my finger on it. I don't even know what to say, from, just the intensity that I felt from the team, the way they were playing, to all of a sudden DJ Lagway's got swag throwing sidearm balls on dots. And, I don't even know what to say, but for like you said, anytime you beat a top 10 program, anytime you beat a team that it was in the college football playoff last year, anytime you beat a team that, has the pedigree like a Texas, you'll take that any day of the week. So heck yeah. Now the question is, can we stack something on this? Can we go on the road and win a big game at a top 5 team? Right now I'd probably say no, but if they can play the way they did last week, you definitely got to like them having a chance, so, but yeah, it's definitely good to talk about a win instead of what we've been talking about, the USF, LSU, and Miami weeks, man. So I'll take it. for sure. But a little bit more fun here on the podcast last few days. So we will get into it. Like, what is repeatable for the Gators? What needs to be repeatable for that Texas performance? Now moving forward to Texas A&M, and we'll get into some big picture talk as well. Sponge and I used to record on Tuesdays. We're recording on Wednesdays. We had already had the big picture topic ready to go, but I was like, well, maybe it works out even better because Brett McMurphy on Twitter, on X, on Wednesday throws out a story there on 3 where Brett McMurphy works, of course, and we'll get into it. Florida is off the most impressive performance of season, most impressive performance of the season in win versus Texas, but Billy Napier still needs a, quote, magical run, a miracle finish to return in 2026, sources told On 3 Sports. So we will get into that right here on this episode of Gators Breakdown. But everybody hit that like button. That really helps us out right here on Gators Breakdown. Smashing that like button on YouTube. While you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button as well, or subscribe right here on your favorite podcast platform. And before we get started, let's give a good shout out to our friends at MyBookie. You can get in on the action there. We talked about it already. Florida travels to College Station to take on Texas A&M. Aggies are currently favored by 7.5. Over/under set at 46.5. So, if you think you got it, go bet it at MyBookie. We're far enough into the season right now. Trends are starting to take some shape. So if you feel even more confident in your picks right now, head to MyBookie, get on the action there. One account,
one wallet. You can bet football all weekend, then go spend some time hitting the slots, all those casino games that MyBookie has. You don't have to switch apps. You don't have to jump to another platform. Just straight up action right there at MyBookie. Of course, you can get in on the NFL action there too. Got it all under one roof. You got game lines, you got player props and more, NFL super contests, survivor pools. Bet it all at MyBookie. And if you're new to MyBookie, use our promo code Gators and get your first bet up to $500 fully covered. If you make your play and it doesn't hit, you get it right back with a bet back bonus. So sign up at mybookie.ag with promo code Gators and claim your bet back bonus. What you think, Sponge? 7.5?
Yeah, this is the first time we've actually been a little hook over the touchdown, in the last several games. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by the number.
No.
Vegas is always trying to get tricky with it. They want to try to get some money going in one way or the other. And, A&M's been playing really well. They've been playing good at home. The Gators haven't been playing really well. So if Florida was, maybe only had a loss or two, it might be, a 3 or 4.5 spread, field goal difference. But I think the line is set pretty decently where it's at. So, like I say, the question is, can we go get a road victory, man?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is here, 3 straight home games for Texas A&M. Auburn, Mississippi State, now Florida. Nice little home stretch for them right here.
Yeah.
So hopefully, they 16-10 versus Auburn.
Yeah, and they kind of waxed Mississippi State.
More than I thought they would. It was a weird game, though. They didn't score until right before halftime, and then close in the third quarter as well, and then gates came open.
Yeah, I think Mississippi State's juice has kind of run out a little bit. They had that magical win early in the year against ASU. They had the banger overtime game the week before with Tennessee. So you kind of expected a road game again at College Station. They played about as tough as you could play early, like you say, and then they kind of just got away from them. But like I say, A&M, they're playing some good ball right now. They got a lot of playmakers, and Elko's got a good defense, so it's going to be a challenge for sure.
Yeah, 31-9 was that final score. I was like, that was the score that was in my head. But I was like, man, that's a weird score line.
Yeah,
let me make sure it was 31-9. But like I said, they scored right before halftime. It didn't score again until they scored another touchdown in the third quarter, I believe, and then fourth quarter they just kind of opened it up there. So we'll get into it. Later on this week too. We'll have a big preview of Florida Texas A&M from the Texas A&M side. So, Sponge, let's go back and use that to move forward at the same time. What is repeatable? What needs to be repeatable for Florida to come out with a victory on Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of going to your point earlier, and this is kind of what we've been wanting to see from this team. This is the things that we pointed out in July that we liked about this team. And you really did see it all. The offensive line played their best game of the year. And that probably, to me, is reason number one that Florida played as good as they did Saturday. That gave Lagway the time. That gave receivers time to get down the field. That opened up the holes for Jaden Ball. It starts right up there. But that's what we expected 4 or 5 returners looking like. This is what we expected from DJ Lagway. Finally, we see Dallas Wilson on the field. This is what we get from him. There's a reason we're so excited. VB3 hits a big play down the field as well. Jaden Ball. And look, even when the offensive line didn't necessarily, good call by Texas on that blitz too on the first touchdown by Ball. Not really much the offensive line could have done with that, really, but still, he steps out the way, scores the first touchdown of the game. But certainly, on the defense, look, we got a good performance, especially in the first half. Just completely dominated Texas. Pressure in Arch's face all day long. That's what we expected as well. But that's what we got. So what is repeatable? What can Florida now move forward with? Because now it's a road game. You don't have the friendly confines of the swamp. Was it just a one-game sample? Was it a flash in the pan? Or is this something that we expect to see week in and week out? So I think if it is going to be repeatable, I'm going to go back. It starts with the offensive line.
100%. And that is exactly why they played as good as they did. It's a collection of everything. But that offensive line was the setter of being able to forcefully run the football. We committed to the run. Yes, Jacoby's out, so maybe that's a blessing in disguise in a sense where Billy has to give the ball to Jaden, and he got 27 carries for over 107 yards. And so that committed the run which then, Texas had to worry about that because it's such a, it could be a forceful thing for us offensively and kind of open up everything. Then, we talked about Dallas Wilson and how much of a big factor we thought he could be. Jeremiah Smith 2.0, he damn sure looked like him. I mean, he looked like a beast out there. So his presence was felt immediately, so now teams have to kind of worry about that, opening up everything else. And then you get the big plays downfield, because I think the offensive line, like I say, set the tone of, protection, set the tone for opening up those holes to where we were able to be balanced. And DJ, like I say, I have no idea where the swag came from again. That was what we saw kind of last year. Some of the plays he was making. Was a little concerned there that he was hurt again and that he was going to be out and that we were going to be without him. So it was like, oh goodness, like he's back out there playing well. We get a touchdown drive, and now all of a sudden he's hurt. Is he going to be out? We're going to have to go to Trammell. You just don't know. And then he comes back in the game and plays about his best performance we've seen in a long time. He was very efficient, made a lot of good throws, made some of those chunk throws. Like you say, you got Dallas Wilson involved. You got, VB3 involved in a big play. Sturdivant had that nice little on the little sidearm ball. Just a couple things
Man, he caught that ball. I said, oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
He got caught like pretty easily. I was like,
yeah,
where's that speed that we
I know, right? Turn up. Like the guy, I guess the most disappointing thing right now is, man, paging Trey Wilson. I cannot put my finger on what is going on to where he just can't get involved in the offense. And
he was out there a little bit. And don't get me wrong, he didn't play maybe 39.
I don't know. I don't know what a snap count was. Yeah, but that's I mean, like I say, I don't know. But here's the thing, going back to what we said earlier in the year, like, make it or break it, who's going to be there? Mizell was in there a little bit, but he, like I say, the best guys are going to show.
Yeah, but that catch he made, it was the behind the line of scrimmage screen, and really should have been tackled for like a loss of 1 or 2, but he makes like a 5-6 yard gain out of it. I'm like, don't get me wrong, I know it's only 5 or 6 yards, but
it was great effort, good stuff. It was good stuff, but like, Dallas Wilson is as advertised, man. And like,
stay there for a second. I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm going to give Sponge some credit here. Now, don't get me wrong, Dallas Wilson was a 5-star, 4-star. A lot of people were on Dallas Wilson, but I remember you. We're at the random morning of a News for Jacks, and I'm in the newsroom, and you pull up this kid's tape, and this was 2-3 years ago. As I said, people who don't know, Sponge is very ingrained in the 7-on-7 world. VB3 talked about it Monday. It was like, hey, we played 7-on-7 together. This is what I expected from Dallas Wilson. So Sponge, kind of go through your 7-on-7 history, and
I've seen a lot of these.
what you saw there from now what we see now.
Again, people like to bag on 7-on-7 like it's a joke. Trust me, 7-on-7 has changed a whole lot just in general of like just the way of the world. Like AAU on grass is what we call it now, but it's still a very developmental game for skills. Your quarterback, your receivers, and your DBs. Like that, I think that's what's helped in the development of these quarterbacks and even these young receivers and these young defensive backs is they get so many reps in this. Now, some of the stuff in 7-on-7 where, you're running a lot of flag football routes, like I hate that aspect of it where you're just trying to win games. We always bred that like we're going to run real football plays. We're going to run real concepts. We're going to run real defensive stuff. Sure, you can get rinky dink and run the rub routes and pick routes and stuff like that, which is what happens in a lot of the tournaments. But you can just see guys who are getting those one-on-one workouts with some of the top defensive backs all across the country, even on your team, to where you're getting good quality one-on-one reps, or you're getting good quality reps versus national power guys that are all ranked up and down the 247 ESPN on 3 rankings. And like VB3 was unbelievable. Like Brandon Ennis at Ohio State was unreal. Jeremiah Smith, obviously unreal. Like these guys are like unbelievable, like unguardable type stuff. And Dallas Wilson kind of fits that mold. And then yes, you turn on that tape of his high school tape, and like I say, he's making electric plays in 11-on-11 stuff. And so you kind of know when you see some of these kids in live action, they might be in just like everybody likes to say, underwear, girdles, and, t-shirts. but you can kind of look at the physicality of them, the speed of them, and you can definitely tell pretty quick whether this guy's going to be good in pads or without pads. Like I say, I remember watching Travis Hunter at when he was 16, 17 years old, and I'm just talking about the kid was unreal, man. So you just know, you can tell when a receiver is going to just be that guy. And, there's definitely, guys who don't pan out for sure, just like quarterbacks don't pan out, just like DBs, So, but yeah, Dallas Wilson definitely is after one game, because I think he's going to build on that and stack on that, and he's going to be a problem. And it's a great problem for other teams to have to deal with. So anything like we said, damn, is Dallas Wilson going to be the thing that unlocks this offense? And you're just like, hell, I hope so. Because like I say, we haven't seen this kind of offensive performance, and and how long? We ran the ball well, we threw the ball well, we protected well, we did everything we needed to do. So offensively, now here's the problem. Now you got to carry it over. Can you do it? Like you said, that what is going to be the carryover, and it's all going to start with that offensive line. If they protect and are able to open up some holes, and we're able to run the ball a little bit, yeah, we can keep Texas A&M, off the, keep their offense off the field, go down and get points when we need to, make it a game, make it a ball game, get in there, So yeah, that's what we're all hoping for. That's what we thought. This is exactly what we thought we were going to see. And, so now, like you said, can we contagiously carry it over?
Yeah. So with that, now, for something that just popped in my head, maybe some homework for me and you. I want to go through Dallas Wilson's highlight tape one more time and see if there was anything close to that 55-yard touchdown he had. Was there anything where he's just dragging guys, making pushing guys out the line of scrimmage and falling down, and it's just
that thing was
that was
dude. I was like, how's he going to? I couldn't believe he stayed in bounds.
I couldn't believe he stayed in bounds. Yeah, the physical part. Okay, I understood that. I expected a lot of that. Nimbleness to stay in bounds and keep us,
like I said, that was a great route on the first touchdown. A nice little shake inside slant route, and caught the ball up high, away from so like I say,
and Lagway slung that thing in there too.
No, he did. And again, here
we go. Moving forward.
Yeah.
Texas A&M. Obviously, Texas was surprised by Dallas Wilson. They had no idea what was coming.
Right.
Now there's a week of tape.
Yeah.
Now there's here's some of how we'll use Dallas Wilson. No, that's not Florida's complete package for Dallas Wilson.
Right.
I mean, that's only one game. So Florida's probably got some new wrinkles too.
Totally.
But that's the question now is, okay, well, now you best bet they're going to shade some coverage. They're going to bracket. They're going to double team Dallas Wilson. I still expect him to get his.
Yeah.
But man, now the guys have got to step up, and this is your chance to step up. And
100%.
It does, bear asking now, what is the offensive plan if Dallas Wilson is taken out somehow, somewhat?
Right. No, and that could very well happen. Teams are going to start having to respect that. So that's where, you can hopefully open up VB3 and even Trey and some of these other guys, because, you think about those first couple of weeks, VB3 was the main target and the main guy making plays and doing big stuff. So now he kind of might be able to get some one-on-one looks again, to where he's, shifty and all that. He's got the burst. Going back to 7-on-7, even in 11-on-11, Vernell Brown just makes plays, man. He just makes plays. He has a knack for just getting in the right spot, getting open, and the dude catches everything. That was a heck of a catch in coverage, on that big play, where he caught that one downfield. And so if Dallas is getting doubled and you're, rolling coverage his way, then some of these other guys are going to have some one-on-one opportunities or some opportunities to make plays. So now everything's just not so reliant maybe on Vernell the first couple of weeks where nobody else was stepping up. So you're hoping that a guy like that, because you think about, JS4 at Ohio State, he's such a main focal point for those teams. Yeah, Carnell Tate and some of those other guys, get to eat one-on-one coverage, so that's what you hope. And that's why you have guys like this, on your team to where if you single him, then fine, we're going to expose you in this aspect. And so we need to get to that pick your poison mode. Is kind of like Texas A&M. Texas A&M's got two really good receivers too.
Oh, yeah.
So, and they're running the ball really well. And like I say, we'll talk about them offensively in a second, but you got to get to that point where you can kind of be that multifaceted, being able to run the ball and throw it and pick your poison. And if you really want to try to sell out to run it, then we got to take advantage of, the coverages you're in. And if you want to double this guy, we got to find the one-on-ones and find the open looks, and so when you can get that, 2 dimensions of not being so one-dimensional, not being able to run the ball, not being able like that, you got to get that way. And like the best teams in the country, are 2-dimensional. They can do it both, or they're just dynamic at one side, so like, and we're not either of those. So we've got to find some balance and, hopefully build upon that.
Yeah, so you mentioned the other side of the ball. Defense plays well once again in Arch's face all day.
That different was good, man.
Yeah, different style of. I mean, Arch was a good runner too. And that really came on late in the game there for where it really hurt Florida. Now you go to Marcel Reed, and we learned a lot about him last year. His first star ever was in the swamp a year ago, and it comes in.
It's coming out party, man.
Yeah, it was a coming out party, and Florida had a tendency of doing that under Billy Napier with Jaden Daniels come out party, Marcel Reed's coming out party. They're in the swamp, both those games. Yeah. So now you go to College Station, Marcel Reed, a little more experienced. There was a purpose for Texas A&M on offense to start hitting the ball down the field, and boy, have they with Concepcion and just who's the other receiver?
Mario Craver.
Yeah. Transfer from Mississippi State in his second year here. So both those guys, really explosive. But Marcel Reed certainly taking steps better down the field. Still could get not really consistent, but they definitely are a more explosive offense. They are hitting the deep ball. But for me, it's still, what can you do to corral him so he doesn't freelance, get the easy throws? Can you keep him in the pocket and make him hit those continuous 10, 15-yard throws that, maybe can beat you, but you don't want to be giving up the 40, 50-yarders that they're hitting right now to those Texas A&M receivers. So, spy him, making sure you stay in your rush lanes. It's going to be a very, very disciplined, needed game for this Gator defense.
Yeah. Going back to Saturday, Texas, you talk about offensive line problems. Like their offensive line is problematic, buddy. I can't wait to watch the carryover of what obviously they got Red River this weekend, but like, where does Texas go in this whole grand scheme of things? Because, that was one of the things we talked about going into the Texas game was Arch, but like, how good is he? We knew they had to replace 3 out of those 5 offensive linemen, which could be problematic. And obviously it showed that offensive line struggled. They couldn't open up the run game, and they damn sure couldn't protect them. And then on the flip side, you lose like a Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond, Silas Golden, all those receivers, Helm at tight end. Mm-hmm. So yes, we like Wingo and DeAndre Moore and even Livingstone. They got some guys, and I think they got some young guys. I think Emmett Mosley is going to be pretty good for them. And obviously our guy from Jacksonville didn't really play, but I think Jamie French is going to be really good. So they've got some young receivers. Now, as Arch comes along, I think that offense will get better. But the problem is, like we just said, with the Gators carrying over, what can they do that they've done better in that game is their offensive line play has got to be better. And so I think the key was Florida really shut their run game down, eliminated it, and then they really got after Arch. And they kind of turned him over, made a couple bad throws, which was great. But there was also some scariness too. I thought Sark dialed up a couple, like they missed that double pass play. That should have been 6. They missed another double move where Kermani got beat on a double move where he just missed that deep ball. And then they were able to hit some of those deep balls later in the game. So secondarily wise, it was a little concerning, going forward when you're going to play a team like A&M where Marcel can throw that thing downfield and you got 2 dynamic receivers. But first and foremost, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, first and foremost, you got to stop the explosions of Marcel Reed's legs because he can get up. That dude is shifty quick, and then their running game is going pretty good right now with both Owens and what's their other dang back's name?
Oh, yeah. Ruben Owens and hold on. I got you.
Yeah. Le'Veon Moss.
Yeah.
It's so. And they're kind of going back and forth. Like one guy has a big game against Auburn. One guy has a big game against.
I can't remember the order. One, I think it was Moss, had his career high 2 weeks ago against Auburn.
Yeah,
and then
Ruben Owens had it last week.
Owens had it last week against Mississippi State. So they've both hit their career highs.
Dude, they're averaging
the last couple of weeks.
5.3 and 7.1 yards a carry.
Yeah. No.
So
and going to your point, you said about Texas's offensive line.
Right.
This is an offensive line on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, they're very good.
Every one of them returned.
All
good. 5 starters.
They're very
returned.
good.
I mean, that was the only offensive line more experienced than Florida's.
Yeah.
In the conference.
Yeah. And definitely they look good. So their offense has been great. And like I say, it's more so of like, what can you do? Can you carry over some of that stuff defensively? But first and foremost, you got to be able to stop the run and then, let everything else fall into place. You get after Reed, pressure him, maybe force him into some bad throws. But, he's super, he's electric, man. But he can be stopped, but go back to that Auburn tape. They need to put that Auburn tape on because Auburn did a heck of a job defensively for them. They just couldn't get anything offense going wise, and they got Texas A&M got that late touchdown, to basically win that one. But it's going to take a collective effort, both sides of the ball for sure.
All right, Sponge. Before we wrap it up here, let's get into it too. What does the win over Texas mean, big picture, for Billy Napier? Of course, it bought him some more time. You lose that game, I'd say you probably fired on Sunday. He gets the win. It buys him time to where this Texas A&M game probably doesn't matter as much. Win or lose, Billy Napier's fine. Of course, if he wins. But it at least takes Billy Napier to the Mississippi State game.
Right.
So now after this win, you're sitting at 2-3. I think the administration wants to see Napier get to 4 or 5 losses before any decisions made. Of course, right now, with only 3 losses, you're mathematically still in position to finish out 9-3, probably make the college football playoff, even would have lost to USF.
Right.
Florida finishes 9-3.
They might be. USF might get in there too. So that might help us.
It might be. But here's the thing. That's 9-3. I don't think the administration thinks college football playoff or bust like much of the fan base does. So even a 4th loss this week to Texas A&M, they'll keep him another week.
Yeah, 8-4. If we finished 8-4, we'd keep him.
You think so? Yeah. That's where I think they do.
I would think they do too.
I do think there's a chance they don't.
Yeah, I mean it could be.
And for me, I'm sorry, I'm playing the game. I don't care. This is your 4th year. We're not in a playoff. Blah 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 blah. Maybe it's the back channel conversations happening first. All right, let's go talk. I'll just throw out some names. Let's go talk to Lane Kiffin. Let's go talk to Marcus Freeman. Let's go talk to option C, option D. All right. They don't want to come. All right. We'll hang on to him at 8-4.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. A lot of the fan base will still be ready to move on, and I don't blame you. I would too. I mean, to me, it's right now, the way this season has been playing out, it's playoff or bust.
Here's what's wild. Here's what's wild. You're talking about this, and we talked about this, I think, on Monday, is literally going into last week, we're like, are we ever going to win another game this season? And now all of a sudden, hypothetically, we're 8-4. I know. It's like, what are we smoking, man? But it's like, I don't. Again,
here's the way. A lot of this is looking at it from the eyes of the administration.
Yeah.
So we know they're a lot more conservative than we are.
Totally.
We get that was proven last year, and probably in some ways this year. Now, kind of going back to the Brett McMurphy headline, obviously there's conversations going on. One more time. Right. Florida's offense most impressive performance of the season with a win over Texas, but Billy Napier still needs a, quote, magical run, a miracle finish to return in 2026. So in that article, I don't want to steal all the info from there because it's a paywall article, blah, blah, blah. I'll have some respect for what they do there. But some parts of that article was, hey, some of the big money is ready to move on.
Yeah.
And you can't blame them. This is not what we thought we were getting in year 4. And, but we'll let the season play out. If you finish 9-3, great, go to the playoff and we'll see what happens. But, one more loss, that's 8-4. It'd be a miracle if you make the playoff as an 8-4 team.
Well, like
maybe it's out there.
The flip side of that is you're giving us one more loss in this gauntlet. And I just, in all honesty, that just doesn't seem realistic in my eyes. So yeah.
Right.
So And like I say, it could come down to you lose this one Saturday. And then, so like you say, they probably won't move on from them then, but it
makes that Mississippi State game pretty big.
Exactly. So I think if you win that one, you'll get another week, but then maybe after Georgia, if you don't win that game, that's probably the swan song. Because
that's part of it is how long do you let it play?
I know because that lingers all the way to November basically.
Yeah, because Kentucky's after Georgia, so if they all right, you lose against Georgia, just say it plays out.
And then you don't want to all of a sudden miraculously do what we did last year and win those last 3. I mean, you want to win them, but again, it's I just
not till you get to that point.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, for
A&M lost 4.
Yeah,
Georgia's lost 5.
Yeah. That's 7-5, dude. That's not acceptable.
No, that's not with
the talent we had, which we saw could take place against Texas. Yeah. That goes back to where you got to find one of those wins. You don't lose to South Florida, and you find one of those where you go 9-3 and not 7-5.
Yeah.
You did that like the nail in the coffin was week 2, buddy. I mean, I just can't get over it. You like. For only reason for you to say their job is if you go 9-3 and you don't lose the rest of the season. And like the realisticness of that is 0.
How do you think the administration reacts with a win over A&M but lose Mississippi State?
Right. That's a good question because
it's loss number 4.
You obviously be in like high favor because you beat a top 5 team on the road, but then you come and lay an egg, man. That's typical. It's typical Napier. That is the Napier experience right there, dog. You nailed it. Like, that's inexcusable as well because you just showed that you could beat 2 top 10 teams. You can't come home and lose to Mississippi State. You just can't. So,
you can't.
Yeah, you're done.
So even if you beat Texas, even if you beat Texas A&M, you lose to Mississippi State. Pull the trigger. It's done. You got a bye week.
I guess here's a scenario. What if you run the table and lose to Tennessee and then you beat Florida State and so you're 8-4 there? Does that keep you? That means you're going to beat Texas A&M,
here's the thing:
Georgia, Ole Miss.
To get to that Tennessee game, he may have to run the table.
Yeah. No. Yeah, you're right.
Because it's so late in the year.
Right. Yeah.
But the timeline is weird. Like I'm saying, there's going to have to be some back channel conversations.
Yeah, you have to
because of the way the transfer report. I mean, first of all,
the new thing,
early signing day is very early in December.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, transition classes mostly suck anyway.
Yeah.
So how much stock do you put in a transition class for one thing? That's something you'll have to figure out.
Yep.
And then you only got the one-time transfer portal now. No more spring transfer portal.
Yep.
And so that's going to play into it as well. If you got a coach who's in the playoff, man, that's a scary thing. Back channel conversations,
that back channel conversation better be
exactly.
It better be kind of rock solid.
Yeah, I mean, a handshake, yes, is weird in that scenario. But the thing is, with the current roster, if there's a lot of question if Billy Napier is going to be the guy or not, guys are going to want to know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to want to, if they're planning on leaving Florida, they're going to want to go to their next destination. If there's any question, if he's like, okay, I don't know who's going to be head coach. It could be Napier. It could be somebody else. Since I don't know the answer, I'm going to go ahead and leave. You might be, if you want to keep Dallas Wilson, DJ Lagway, Vernell Brown III, if you want to keep the young, if you want to keep Jaden Ball, you may have to make the decision early to say, oh yeah, we are going to have somebody new in.
And no, for sure. And that's the whole, I mean, it's so tricky right now. It is so tricky right now.
Saying you're going to keep Billy Napier may keep him as well.
Right.
But you're going to have to make the decision before the end of the season.
Yeah. You're almost going to have to pull what you did after the Texas game.
Yeah.
Or before the Texas game, whatever they said, basically, he's going to be our coach.
Yeah. After Georgia going into Texas, because that was, they had the quote ready, all that stuff to go.
And then they got annihilated at Texas. But then they turn around and win, like I said, to close out the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a very tricky situation. I mean,
I think the administration waits till loss number 5.
Yeah. I wouldn't disagree with that. I wouldn't disagree with that. And honestly, if I'm looking at this thing, that's where I would say they lose this week and they lose to Georgia. And that'd be it,
Because here's the scenario. It's year 4. Once you get to loss number 4, now that's just saying maybe they hang on by a thread and say, oh, let's see if we can get to the playoff with 4 losses. in this wide open college football, maybe.
Right.
Maybe. I don't think so. I think you're hanging on by a thread and you're wishing, and maybe that's what this administration's thinking.
Right.
But here's the thing. You'd be 4 years in, no college football playoff appearance. That's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough. Once you
like I say, we're a mediocre program right now. We're like bottom tier right now in the SEC, and we're trying to work our way back up to being mid-tier when we thought we were going to be kind of in the upper tier this year. And, when you have that kind of expectations, that kind of like, thought process through even the staff and Napier talking about, how good this team was going to be. And, you basically didn't bill up to your living, and, you sold us a bunch of stuff, and you come out and play the way you did to start the year. You buried your own grave, and like I say, yeah.
You don't get credit. You don't get credit for digging the grave and then coming out of it.
Yeah, exactly. There was some certain dynamics to it. Maybe if DJ wasn't hurt, maybe if Dallas Wilson was 100% healthy. But guess what? That's a part of the game, man. Like, and
all teams won't happen again next year.
Exactly. All teams have injuries. All teams have to deal with certain things and this, that, and the other. You got to somehow, play to your strengths, which is what do we like? Why did Jaden Ball only get 12 carries in the first 3 games or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Why didn't we commit to this? And why didn't we do? You could say why? Why haven't you turned the play calling duties over to somebody else and been more of a general manager leader? So it's like he's done nothing but buried his own grave, in my opinion. And like I say, he's not doing anything to dig himself out of this unless, like McMurphy says, we go on some magical run. And again,
because I'm done with the bad starts.
Yeah, no,
here's the thing: 5-2 would be a great finish. But you know what? That means your overall record is 7-5.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, especially when you count that of losing that game to South Florida. When you had it won. And, you played really tough on the road at LSU, but you threw 5 interceptions. And, you had the alleged number 1, number 2 team in the country, 13-7 with a pick, maybe take the lead, and you end up, getting flexed out of that game. So, yeah, if you look at this thing and you say, all right, you beat number 5, number 10, number 4, number 12, number 25, and then you beat the teams like Mississippi State and Kentucky who aren't ranked, by all means, kudos if you go 9-3. But, again, the likelihood of that happening is like, some mythical, magical carpet ride, you know what I'm saying? So I'm all for it, but here's the one thing about it too. If that team does play like they did at home against Texas, and if that is the team that we get consistently week in and week out, sure, we can go compete and maybe win all those games.
Yeah.
But for the likelihood of that happening week in and week out for the next 8-9 weeks, it's just, it's hard to believe, Yeah. And so they are capable if they were to put it together. But again, even then, it's still super hard because these are some really good teams.
Yeah.
And so,
we're not being overly critical here. I mean, this is what happened starting 1-3. This is the conversation.
Yeah.
And if you don't agree with the conversation, that's just digging your head in the sand. And I don't call out fan base too much, but the start here, yes, it would be a great finish. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
But you can't forget the first month of the season.
Totally.
And it's 2 years in a row where you're, almost.
Well, again,
almost since Napier's been here, bad starts. So,
yeah, totally.
Why are you giving him another? Why would you give another chance to have another bad start?
Yeah, totally.
This was supposed to be the year to get over that.
All right, here's one for you. If we don't lose that South Florida game, so we got the 2 losses right now to the teams, who are LSU and Miami, and then you somehow still went 8-4. See, I think 8-4 saves you regardless, because I think at the beginning of the year we said with this schedule 8-4, it was all going to be how does it look?
Yeah.
Did we make improvements and all that stuff? And I guess we can't really answer that question because we have to see how the rest of it does look. But if you were just not to lose that South Florida game and swap that with like an A&M loss or a Georgia loss, I think we'd be more accepting to that, But
we'd be more accepting, and he would get more time.
Yeah,
he'd get more time to go.
Yeah,
that 8-4.
Yeah, because a lot of people thought we were probably going to lose those 2 road games to start the year. That was realistic. What was wild was last week, like all the national pundits and like everybody was picking the Florida upset last week. I'm like,
I know.
What the heck do they know that we don't? Is this thing really scripted? Is there a script?
I mean, there is this thing where you follow your team, so you get overly critical at times too.
Totally.
Like you get homer at times, but then when it's ugly, you probably get overly critical at the same time. But I mean, come on, there was plenty of reason not to pick Florida.
Yeah.
And so
that was the faux pick, man. So let's see what they say this week. I just it's gonna take that effort, against Texas and then some, especially if you got to go on the road.
Do something he's never done.
Yeah,
beat a good team on the road.
Yeah, exactly. How many times has he done that?
None, not once.
0.
So
yeah.
I mean, more power to you if you do it.
Yeah, I can say I'm rooting for you to do it.
But why should we pick it?
Yeah. Besides
hope. That's what it would look like.
100%, my brother. 100%.
All right. It's been a few days since I got a little fired up because just how bad we have been. I was enjoying the win. I was enjoying the win for a little bit, but now back to reality and what you got to do to move forward. And
that task is tough, man. So we can go back to being critical about, we talked about that even over the summer when it was talking season, like show me on the field what you're talking about,
Yeah.
And so again, guess what? You get a chance on Saturday to go line up and show us, that's just this is a results business, bottom line. Show me what you can do.
Kind of just like it would be repeat again though. And if you get this win somehow again, it's just like if I had hair, I'd pull it out in frustration.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we both don't have any.
It was just like, why? Where was this at? Where was this?
No, I know. It's very frustrating.
Yeah,
it is because you kind of we thought this is what it was supposed to be. So, again, there's a lot to blame and. Sure, DJ didn't get good on good reps until the bye week. Dallas Wilson was hurt for the first 4 weeks. This, that, and the other.
But big picture, Sponge. Not even. You know what? This season is a microcosm. If you had one more last year,
right?
If you had one more in year 2,
right?
You might have had a little bit of grace.
Totally. It's the same thing. It's the same record, man. It's Groundhog Day. It's the same thing. So, what is it? Your insanity because you just keep on believing it. So it's just like, like I say, we'll let it play out for the next couple of weeks and then we'll evaluate. And like I say, keep playing the way you did and we'll shut us up, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I want to be shut up for sure.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So that'll do it right here for this part of this episode of Gators Breakdown. Sponge Man, I think once more, maybe we'll talk about another win next week right here.
Let's do it.
We'll see what it means, but, that'll do it for this part of the episode of Gators Breakdown. Sponge, have a good one, man.
All right, my man.
The Gators finally showed signs of renovation on offense. And hey, look, just like the Gators, my home is starting to look better too. Last week, Gator Drywall of Duval began transforming my living space. After dealing with those unsightly popcorn ceilings and annoying drywall holes for far too long, my walls are already looking smoother and more modern. Just a few more touches and both my home and our Gators might be ready to shine. I'm particularly impressed with Brandon and his team at Gator Drywall. They've brought back that personal dedication so often missing in service industries today with practice precision. They've been patching holes, repairing cracks, and removing outdated textures throughout my home. So while our Gators have a bit more work to do before reaching their full potential, my home renovation is in the final stretch of completion. If your house needs the same kind of transformation, don't hesitate to call the true professionals at Gator Drywall of Duval. Call them at 904-793-2088. That's 904-793-2088 or visit gatordrywallofduval.com. Once again, let's take a look back at last week in the win over Texas with another edition of Focus on the Gators with Alex Shepard. And Alex, you shared it, I think, on Sunday. And I knew you would, and you should have, because you brought it up last week. You threw out the scenario. You threw it out last week, right here on Gators Breakdown. Quote, pretty much quote, this one has the stench of a Billy Napier win. And then Saturday comes and a 29-21 upset victory over the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, and I even said 24-21. I was so close, but I wasn't accounting for a Taylor Spirito blocked punt safety. I mean, that if you would have told me even just blocked punt under this administration, I would have. Have we blocked a punt? I don't think we've ever even come after one.
Monday night, I think I did have to look it up. I think it was Derek Wingo against Charlotte.
Okay, against Charlotte.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last time in the SEC, off the top of my head, oh man, what was it? I forget, but
Long time.
It has been a while. It has been a while in an SEC game.
Yeah, how about them Gators, man? I mean, it smelled funny, but we got the job done. Obviously, like I just had one of those feelings. It was one of those games where we're rested up. You know, the guys are really feeling the sting from last year. All the things lined up, and it really just had to be pieced together by a couple of offensive plays, just like we talked about last week. And what do you know? We come out, we score on our first drive out there, and set the tone.
Yeah, for sure. And Alex, I mean, look, we talked about it all, the preseason game 1, and then we had the losing streak, and then you get the win here. Weird season so far, not the start we all wanted. So the term bittersweet has been thrown out there because of the win here. Bittersweet, kind of two ways to look at that term, I think, in some of this. For some of the fan base, it gives Napier some more time to figure it out. So that's bittersweet for some of the fan base. And another way to look at it, of course, is where was this before? Why did it take a bye week? Why did you have to start 1-3? There's this funny narrative out there that the players don't give up for Napier and they play so hard for him. Well, you still lost to USF, you still lost to LSU, you still lost to Miami. Yes,
they didn't care then. They didn't care then, but now they care.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, they care. They don't win this game. But at the same time, you can't keep throwing that narrative out there to sweet talk Gator Nation in some way. Well, they play so hard for him. Well, are you telling me they didn't play hard versus LSU and Miami and USF? So, look, obviously they play hard. Obviously they wanted to win, but you can't cherry pick that scenario.
It's rare that very rare that you're going to see a team actually physically just give up on a coach and a coach alone. In my eyes, at least, these guys are not just playing for a coach; they're playing for their own futures in a lot of cases. They're looking at some of these guys, some of these higher level players are looking at NFL careers, and so
NIL,
getting new sponsorships and playing time to be on the field for that reason. So I'm not a big guy of they're playing hard for the coach. I've never been a guy who's bought into that kind of mentality. These guys should be playing hard every week, and it shouldn't be just playing hard for the coach. It should be playing hard for themselves and playing hard for the logo that's on their chest. So, I'm glad they got the win. I think bittersweet, like you said, it can be viewed multiple different ways. But I think the bigger challenge is the one that's coming up this week. I think we're going to learn a lot about the team and whether or not this is a real buy-in or if this was just an anomaly at home that we were feeling a spark for.
Yeah, I know. Like, kind of going back to last week, it was like, what do we really know about Texas? They hadn't really played anybody, and they lost to Ohio State. They played that game, hadn't played anybody up to that point between Ohio State and Florida. You're like, what does it mean? What does it mean that Texas hasn't played anybody against Ohio State? They played Ohio State very hard. They played Ohio State very tough. It was a close game, and it turns out now that maybe Texas isn't all that good. We still don't know. I mean, they don't have a Power 4 win yet, but we'll learn a lot about them against Oklahoma this week too. But like you're saying, kind of going to your point about Florida, we know a lot about this team. We've seen them against the toughest schedule in the country so far up to this point. Carryover is an interesting way to look at it here. Is it a flash in the pan? Did they figure something out? How much carries over? And we don't know the answer to it. Just like we didn't know what Texas really was. Yeah, you knew they probably weren't as good as they were last year, given what they had come up to this point. But we have a lot of data points on Florida.
Yeah, and so we like you said, we didn't know too much about Texas, but we knew that the offense was sputtering, that it wasn't looking like this high octane thing that it was supposed to be before the season started and what they were hyping Arch Manning to be. Now we go to a Texas A&M team that is a well-balanced offense, top 30, 35 in most categories offensively, and they're stout defensively. So I believe, statistically speaking, they're going to be the most talented team we've played yet offensively, including Miami and LSU. If I look at it, I think LSU's is actually pretty bad statistically now, looking at it, other than the passing game. But overall, they're looking like a really strong team to play, and that'll tell us, are we competitors or are we just completely gone?
Yeah, for sure. So taking a look back at last week, I mean, it was early. It was kind of often. Getting Dallas Wilson involved. Man, I saw him on the field after the game. You saw him on the field all during the game. Before the game, I mean, he looks like what you want a wide receiver to look like. He looks like he could go out there and catch 6 passes for over 100 yards and score 2 touchdowns. Look, I had all kind of expectations for this kid. I didn't expect it the very first time we see him on the field.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like a 5-star. He looked like a guy who, I mean, he looks like a junior. He's out there running routes that are crisp. He's making guys look just completely funny, throwing them to the side and trucking guys. I mean, not only that, I mean, he's built like a upperclassman. I mean, He's a big dude, and a lot of talk too. He loves to talk to these guys and talk to the crowd and interact with everybody. One of my favorite photos of the day right there. I mean, you can't
I was going to give you
argue.
a shout out for this one. This one blew up. I mean, look, I shared some videos of Dallas Wilson and VB3 kind of separately for, Saturday night for you and on Sunday. And then this one right here, you got to tell the story. If you're watching on YouTube, this is, you see it. But if you're listening to the podcast version, this is Vernell Brown, VB3, and Dallas Wilson side by side right there on the field. Alex, you got to tell the story of how this photo blew up and what came out of this photo.
Oh, man. I mean, well, obviously there's a lot of hype between these two. I mean, you could argue this is the best duo freshman wide receiver group that is in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously, I mean, I posted the photo in a group of photos, and then Trey Brown, his dad, Vernell Brown, a legacy, posted it as an edit, and it blew up. And it just became this whole thing where I think even Vernell Brown III, Trey here, posted it as well. And so, yeah, it just got a lot of traction, got a lot of attention, and rightfully so. These two are incredibly talented. I hope we utilize them each week to their maximum potential.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly a difference for this offense, what we saw, both these guys on the field, both of them making big plays, making explosive plays, something we had not seen except for the one-handed catch that VB3 made in week 1.
And what have we talked about, Dave? What we've talked about, how everything is going out, right? It's 3-yard bubble screens, it's runs up the middle, and nothing is going deep. And what did we see them change this game?
Yeah.
They started going deep because they have Dallas Wilson here, and they're throwing the ball 10, 15, 20 yards down the field because they know they got the guy now. I don't know why it took that. You got J. Michael Sturdivant. You've got these guys who can get vertical, but we're seeing it now. So hopefully that turns the leaf.
Hopefully. And I said, too, probably the biggest aspect of it all, and we'll go through some more photos here as we cycle through all this, is the offensive line. I mean, look, you can't go deep if you don't have the time. And that had been an issue at points this year, a lot this year, against LSU and Miami. But that was also the big reason they were able to do so. This offensive line played their best game of the season, and hopefully that's something that can continue because they're going to need it. I mean, if we want this offense to be what it is, the skilled players can be down the field. They can be open. Lagway can have all the confidence in the world, but if he ain't got all the time in the world, it ain't going to matter sometimes.
No, I props to the offensive line. Those guys were, like you said, they're playing their butts off. And you're not doing it against, again, we should have been manhandling teams like USF. I mean, these are big Texas 5-star, 4-star linemen that are good players, and they were holding their own. And that's not going to get any easier this upcoming weekend. We're going to still be playing those big Texas guys. And, I hope that, like you said, we found something that can spark them and keep them going. But we're looking through some of these. I mean, I hate the rain as a photographer sitting in it. I love the rain taking photos because it just looks so dang cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I love
Jaden
it.
Ball opening touchdown right there. But yeah, we'll go back to it. I know the love him or hate him out there, but I know you tweeted that picture out there. It's like, yeah, it does look tough. I mean,
it's sorry guys, like it's not about whether you like him or not. I'm just talking about the picture itself. That's a pretty hard picture.
Yeah, for sure. Something that we know we got in this game, and here was the running joke that I was running with for quite some time.
The running joke, as we see a running picture. Sorry.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Sorry, that was terrible.
Good up close photo there by Jaden Ball. But this guy here, Arch Manning, comes into the swamp. All right, he's wearing number 16. There was another Manning who wore 16 in another shade of orange. He also never won in the swamp. So maybe that's what it is. If you're a Manning, don't wear 16. Don't wear a shade of orange, and you might get a win like Eli. Eli can come in here and get a win, but any shade of orange and number 16, you're not winning in the swamp. So if your last name's Manning.
That's all we need to do. Is what we'll do is any quarterback that comes here, we'll just change their school color to orange, and we'll just put Manning on the back of their jersey, and maybe we'll win. And we've solved it, Dave. We need to figure this out and get it to the administration stat. We need to tell them.
We got it. The easiest way to do that might be on the video game, but
we'll
figure
mentally.
It out.
We'll prepare them mentally.
We'll figure it out. Hey, but look, I mean, it was neat seeing. To me, it was neat seeing Texas in the swamp. I mean, for one thing, something we had not seen. Any of us. It had been since the 40s since Texas had been in Gainesville. I was glad their fan base got to see the swamp for what it was. And I think you had even talked about the hype maybe for the Gator Walk wasn't what it had been in the past. And look, this is what we talked about a week ago. It's like, hey, the hype for this game kind of died down a bit, but we know the swamp can be the swamp. It was going to be up to the team to get the swamp where it needed to be, but the hype wasn't there. It was still kind of subdued, pregame. But once you got in that stadium and Texas takes the field and that white helmet against Florida's helmet, I mean, then all was right with the world for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, the Gator Walk was definitely, normally it's 5-6 plus people deep and pretty raucous. It was pretty quiet, and not quiet. I'm not saying it was super quiet. I'm just saying less so than it normally is, and there was only a couple people deep, so that was worrisome to begin with. But I even saw some Texas beat reporter tweet out like, "Oh, so this is the swamp," and it was the stadium still filling in with 20 minutes to kick off. Well, that thing filled in. Let me tell you, it got full. And as we always do, Gator Nation showed up for a team that has really not given them a reason to show up. And I mean, I'm glad everyone was there to see it. And so many people stuck around all the way to the end of the game, which was really encouraging. You had a lot of people cheering on the team, cheering on the players and whatnot. Oh, that picture. Yeah, that one was rough. The one before that with Devin Moore's tackle. That guy ended up getting an MRI or something like that. He got taken off the field for that play right there.
Yeah, one of Texas's best receivers, Livingston, I believe that's who that is. And I was surprised that he got up off there. Then when I saw your photo, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that's no, I didn't realize how unpleasant that is to look at, but that was that's a tackle in one way or the other. Ouch.
Oof. Devin Moore with a good game. On the same drive, a sack and an interception. So good for Devin Moore. Hey, the best thing about Devin Moore, he's just on the field.
Yep, we love that. We'll take it.
For sure. I mean, if a guy who's just fought through so many injuries, so glad that he's out there and proving that he's the guy that we think he can be. Dallas Wilson touchdown right there on the RPO slant there. Lagway just firing it in there, getting his first touchdown of his career in a Gator uniform. But I mean, we got to talk to him after the game, and you kind of mentioned it just a bit, Alex. I mean, the personality you can see. I mean, the kid he don't seem like he don't seem like a freshman physically. He also don't seem like a freshman, mentally and the approachability of himself in a press conference scenario. I mean, he wasn't shy. He was wanting to talk to anybody and everybody who would talk to him.
Yeah, he's not shy to the spotlight. I think he is fully prepared for and knows what the expectation is for him at the University of Florida. It's not to be somebody who's going to be a second string, third string guy who you're not going to notice. I think he goes into these games with the mentality that he's going to be the guy. And I think that shows in the press conferences. It shows on the field. It shows on, how he communicates with his teammates, that he thinks and is an alpha in the wide receiver room. And that'll continue. I would not be surprised to see another performance like that coming up soon.
We talked about the offensive line having their best performance of the day. Also, the defensive line did as well. They've been able to create some pressure here and there this year, but sacking Manning 6 times in his face all day long. Alex, there was plenty of photos with blue jerseys bringing number 16 down.
Loved it. I loved it. And the thing is, there's some other games that I've shot this year that it's like, man, it just really wasn't that interesting to take pictures. This one had everything. I mean, we had interceptions, we had sacks, we had deep offensive throws. I mean, it was very entertaining for me as a photographer. And obviously I love the 3:30, 4 o'clock light that we get with these I love that photo. I actually talked to Miles about that one, which let me shout out Miles Graham really quick, because I told you before week 1, I said, you know what, this guy's going to be our tackles leader. And you went, oh, interesting. And look at how he's been playing. He has been playing lights out. I mean, he's built like a linebacker, but has the speed of his dad.
Yeah.
And he has been playing just lights out football. I just want to give him a huge shout out. I think he's a young but vocal leader of this defense, and love to see him playing well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he great in pursuit, great in doing his job. You know, if he doesn't have to go through if his job is to spy, he's a great spy. I mean, he does his job, but I mean, just some of those pursuits, he's like,
he's so fast, man.
Yeah, can he really get there? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yep, he's there. Oh, I blinked, he's there.
Yep. Arch getting up there from the ground one time. There's your block punt. I mean, look, you even got that one. Like you said, there was plenty to shoot in this game, plenty of shots to get, and there you are with the block punt.
I just wish I was a little bit more to the side. I got like mostly the punter, but you know what's funny is most other games.
I'm going to give you some grace. It's not like you're used to shooting block punts or anything like that.
This is what I was just about to say. Is I wasn't even thinking about shooting this, but whenever I saw us kind of bunch up right at the start, I said, this doesn't look like normally we were kind of spread out. And we only had like 4 or 5 guys on the line. We brought some guys in and said, okay, let me get the camera ready, because this might be something. And sure enough, I mean, granted, like you said, I didn't remember the last time we had gone after it, but I feel like when I'm watching the game, every time there's a punt, it feels like we send maybe 3 or 4 guys, and then the rest just kind of go back in coverage. But that was a surprise. And I just remember holding down the trigger and getting as many shots as I could.
Emory Jones in the swamp, by the way. That was very interesting. I think this is not the first time he's been back since he's gone, though, because I think there were some photos you sent I forget what game it was last year. Maybe it been Miami game.
Yeah, I think he's been at 1 or 2 other ones.
Yeah.
This is, I can't remember the last one, but it was good seeing him in there. He said, what's up? It was obviously fun shooting him when he was a player here. For some reason, I kept on flashing in my mind the Alabama game and just how close that was. And I mean, that could have been a defining game for Emory Jones here. And sad he couldn't get it, but I'm glad to see him back there. A lot of people might throw some shade his way, but I think he's a great guy. He definitely loves the orange and blue.
For sure. Great take, Casey, on the radio call right there on the sideline. We got to send him those photos right there. I think he might like.
Oh, he's already got them. I texted it to him.
I was wondering. I was like, I'm sure Alex sends these pictures of these guys here. So good
Tate's
for him.
Good guy. Tate's good guy.
Sure,
let me throw this out there really quick.
Yep.
I haven't brought this up to him, but back when he had just graduated, he was working at a place in Gainesville called Sports Authority, off of Newberry and I-75. And I didn't know, but I walked up and I introduced myself because I recognized him as a former player. And that was the first time I ever met him. That was 2010, 2011, something like that. And he is just as genuine today as he was back then. So and I shouted out Miles Graham. I'm giving a shout out to Casey. Still one of the nicest guys that I've ever met. That's a player, past, present, future.
Yeah. Always make sure, because where we have to park for the media there at Flavitt Field. Well, you walk to the side of the stadium that does the radio call. You have to walk through the section where the radio call is happening pregame. And I always make sure to give Adapt to Tate and Jeff Cardozo right there on the call. Almost, every home game I walk right by them, and they're talking. They can't really talk or anything, but just a little fist dab, and it's just something I've always done there with them. All right, Vernell Brown III, big catch right there. All right, I was surprised. Look, you look at that photo, it's like, oh, he's gonna catch it and just come down with it. Nope, he caught it. And then he's running. It was like 10, 15 more yards after that catch. Good there for VB3. But good, like I said, just to see those 2 true freshmen get so involved there for the Gators. And I mean, you got to think about it. It's on the offensive side. You got Dallas Wilson, VB3. We'll see what Dallas Wilson can do now with some film on him. And we'll see how some defenses like Texas A&M react to him now. Mm-hmm. But you have to throw Dallas Wilson because of what he did just in one game. VB3 on the defensive side of the ball, Jaden Woods. I mean, you got some freshmen out there just playing a lot of good snaps, quality snaps for the Gators.
Yeah, I think we got to continue that trend. You're right. Teams are going to start game planning now for him. They saw what he did. They're not just going to leave him wide open. But on top of that, these guys, it doesn't matter if they're covered or not. These are the kind of guys that can go and get it. So I think that Billy hopefully will continue to feed it to them. not on little bubble screens the entire game, but get the ball deep, keep pushing defenses and spread them out, open up the run game for Baugh. And yeah, they have the talent to make the space, as was evidenced by like half of Dallas Wilson's catches. So yeah, this one was pretty iconic. I think this was probably the moment of the game. I love the cheerleader, and like half the people behind are just like mouth wide open, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just saw that. The girl on the far left as well, for those who can see it on YouTube. I mean, I think that was all of us.
It was. And man, it's just like, you can see it right away too, especially up high. It was like, oh, that Texas defender fell down. Okay, there goes Dallas. Did he really stay in bounds? Oh, is that a touchdown?
I couldn't believe it.
I know, man. It was just what a play. What a debut. I mean, I know we've repeated it here, but man, it bears repeating. Just what the type of performance, the type of plays, not just a performance. I mean, just a quick, just play along with me here. Just a bland 6 catches for 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when one of them is this play, it made it even better somehow.
Yeah, this I think you had seen he's talented. He did this, and you're like, oh, he's really talented. Like this is just pure talent. This isn't taught.
Yeah,
very good play.
Very true. We'll go through here as we cycle, Alex, and we'll wrap up here. So, got the win over Texas. You mentioned, of course, Gators going to College Station. Got Texas A&M, number 5. Do you fall right now into the we've been here before crowd? Kind of going back to what we talked about earlier. It's the bittersweet, and why couldn't we do this before? And it just prolongs, what maybe the inevitable with Billy Napier. Are you still in the we've been here before crowd?
Yes. So
have to be, right? Until
we really prove it and do it on a consistent basis, you have to be. I think everyone should, in their rightfully so, celebrate this win against Texas. It's a good win. It's not like we're beating, a group of 5 school and yippee woohoo. But until we're doing this consistently, as the Gators should be doing, we should be going into College Station as a team and as a fan base saying we can win this game and not be afraid. We should be saying that we can go to FSU. We're going to play Georgia tough, and we're going to win that game. Right now, I don't think anybody has that supreme hope. I think we're all looking at this going, this was a one-off, and we need more proof to really get behind Billy and the staff again. So I'm unfortunately going to say that we're not going to win against Texas A&M. I think we're going to get something like maybe a 31-17 kind of game, but hey, if we pull off, I will say on the next pod, if we pull off something in College Station, my tone on the team is going to completely change. I mean, it has to. If you go there to one of the toughest places to play against a very talented team and you can actually win that one, then I'll start having a little more belief.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to. Billy Napier's got to do something he's never done before, and that's beat a good team on the road. He just hasn't done it yet at Florida, so that would be a check mark for trying to turn this thing around. Is doing something that you've never done before. So big win over Texas. Can you get another win next week against another team in Texas, but this time on the road? So certainly interesting. Happy Gators there though on the field after the game.
Yeah, we'll see if we got some more happy Gators come Saturday. Well, hey, you know what? I love this team. I've been a Gator since birth, and I'm never going to root against them. Let me tell you that, no matter what. No,
for sure. I have to go out there and play well. We have another victory to talk about there. But Billy Napier running into the tunnel, different tone this week for the head man, and now getting ready to go to College Station. So, Alex, people out there maybe want some photos from you. How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So, I photograph here in Jacksonville for anyone who, I usually don't do any kind of corporate things, but if you want some headshots done, if you want stuff like that, I do that. But something I talk about every week on here is that my main gig, which is kind of the stuff over my shoulder, I'm actually a realtor here in Jacksonville. So anybody looking to buy a house or just want to know about the market, you can reach out to me on Twitter. My handle is right under my name. It's Agent Shep, or on Instagram, sold by Shep. I think it's sold by Shep or sold by Shepherd. I can't remember. It's one of the two. Just make sure it looks like this face and not some random person. But yeah, reach out however you'd like, and I'd be glad to chat with you about it.
There we go. It'll be a couple weeks back in the swamp. You'll be on the sideline taking photos. Florida, Mississippi State. Then a bye week. You'll be on the sideline for Florida, Georgia as well. So last little quote unquote week off here as the Gators go to College Station, but back on the sideline next couple of games after that one.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see you at those once we get back home. And then obviously the short drive over the Main Street Bridge to Florida, Georgia. And hopefully we got something for him.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, everybody, that'll do it. Another great conversation on this edition with Focus on the Gators with Alex Shepard.